Greetings to all boxing fans and others alike. In the early 90s, it was hard to imagine any other boxer with such destructive power as Iron Mike Tyson. The young, fast, and freakishly strong American was unrivaled for a long time, destroying everyone in his way. But in the spring of 1991, a Brooklyn hooligan met in the ring with a famous fighter for his destructive power. He was a fighter that Iron Mike respected, and that, as you know, is worth its weight in gold. So meet the great and terrible Donovan Ruddock, aka Razor.
Donovan Razor Ruddock.
In this episode, we'll bring you the story of this great boxer and show you two of his fiercest fights, both of which have gone down in boxing history. Ultimately, we will try to explain why Mike Tyson respected this fighter so much. Well, folks, let's get to know the boxer better and understand who he is. Donovan Ruddock was born December 21, 1963 in Jamaica. At that time, it was not so good of a place to live, and in 1974, his family moved to Canada. Here, at 15 years old, our fighter got to know boxing. Interestingly enough, Donovan could have become a professional tennis player since he showed great promise in boxing and tennis. Yet Ruddock chose boxing. He didn't have to be in the amateur league for long. He quickly started his professional career. Of course, talent and many victories spurred it on, one of which was the victory over, dare I say, the great Lennox Lewis. Admittedly, no one knew that name at the time. Many years later, Lennox will request a rematch with our fighter, and it would be an unforgettable battle. But more about that later. And so, Donovan Ruddock entered the professional level in 1982. If we were to briefly describe his path leading up to the moment of facing Iron Mike, namely up to 1991, I would call it the destruction of everyone and everything.
I want a title and nobody's going to be stopping me.
Donovan Ruddock possessed not only a monstrous punch, but also a peculiar style, which did not fit into the so-called boxing standards. For example, his famous left-handed punch was a hybrid of a hook and uppercut. According to the canons, this punch should not be so effective. But Donovan proved otherwise because almost half of his victories were due to this unique punch. The most surprising thing is that the boxer was right-handed, but the cannon punch from the left became his lethal weapon.
His legs it off.
Despite his swift success and victory over 3 former world champions, our fighter didn't get a chance to test himself in a championship fight for a long time. World champion Evander Holyfield was supposed to fight Donovan, but to defend his title, he chose not to fight him. He decided to fight George Foreman, who was 42 years old. Now, it became unknown when Donovan Ruddock would be able to compete for the title. However, at this moment, the silhouette of Iron Mike appears on the horizon.
Mighty Mike Tyson.
It's fact, I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
By the time of Donovan's title fight, Mike Tyson was no longer a world champion, having suffered a shocking defeat by James Douglas. Mike was still a badass and had not yet gone to prison, after which he probably lost most of his boxing skills. Although Tyson had recovered from an unexpected defeat, he needed the greatest opponents to maintain his career and high status, and Donovan Ruddock at that time was precisely that. Like Tyson, Donovan had only one loss, but he had fewer fights. But our fighter was definitely good.
And the winner, Razor Ruddock!
And so, in January 1991, the announcement came through that Iron Mike would have his next fight against Donovan Ruddock. Despite the intimidating reputation of his opponent, Mike Tyson was not afraid of his challenger and was very aggressive.
I'm more motivated because it's Mike Tyson. I'm more motivated because he's one of a kind, and he's the only guy that can bring me to this level that he said he can beat me, and I know I can beat him. That's what I feel, and that's what gives me the motivation to know that when he walks in the ring, it's going to be a war.
I'm just in great shape, and I'm prepared for the fight. Can't wait till tomorrow night.
Yep, we were in for an exciting fight. Both fighters showed fantastic form. Both Mike and Donovan were wildly charged, and the boxing world couldn't wait for the heavyweight bout. And so the gong sounded and the battle began.
Round one scheduled for 12. The difference in size immediately apparent. Ruddock just went for a...
As expected, the boxers didn't try to wait any longer and went straight for the attack.
Throwing a big punch, he stumbled after the punch. Left uppercut by Ruddock. Right on the button. Any lessons from Douglas throwing an uppercut from outside? He's throwing from way out. It's done something. It stopped Iron Mike.
In Tyson's usual manner, he walked forward, breaking through challenging combinations. He liked finishing his fights quickly and wanted to do it again.
With a knife. Heading for the bell. Tyson hitting after.
His frenzied aggressiveness soon paid off, as already in the third round, Donovan Ruddock was on the floor.
Shots. He just doesn't quite get there. There's a left by Ruddock. A left by Tyson, and down goes Ruddock.
But our fighter was not at all shy and, with a smile on his face, got up after being knocked down. And then he slowly started to take the initiative.
Tyson, you would figure he'd chop down little by little. Can he survive these wild punches by Ruddock?
In the sixth round, Iron Mike almost ended up on the floor as Ruddock's punches hit his opponent.
Uppercut and then the right hand over. Oh, nice hook. Here comes Ruddock out of nowhere. A combination by Ruddock. An uppercut by Ruddock. A right by Ruddock.
Tyson kept missing, but they didn't call him Iron Mike for no reason. He could turn the tide of the fight at any time. In the seventh round, Tyson came through with a formidable combination, after which the refugee unexpectedly stopped the fight.
Now the right combination. Steele steps in. Is it over? It's over.
The main surprise was that Ruddock didn't look lost, beaten, or unwilling to continue the fight. He was determined. Plus, it's not like Tyson dominated much during this period of the fight. But the ref decided otherwise. This stoppage made a lot of noise in boxing, so the only way to somehow calm down the public was a rematch.
The referee in charge, Richard Steele, stops the contest. Winner by way of TKO, Mighty Mike Tyson.
I'll be glad to give him a fight. I fear no man. You know, I feel sorry for those guys that want to take on a guy like me, the killer of many.
And now, 3 months later, our two fighters would meet again in the ring. The first fight between the boxers provoked a lot of talk, so the rematch was a must. Before the fight, the fighters were even more severe and were not hesitant in expressing their thoughts.
He's a strong puncher, but he's not as strong as I thought. So
what do you think about that?
Let's fight again. I fear no man, no mortal, nobody but God, so we can do it again. I would love it.
Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. He's an ignorant little kid, you know what I mean? And he's going to be like that. I don't want to bring myself down to his level, so I don't really even want to cherish that thought. I'm going to go in there and we're going to fight, and that's the bottom line.
Oh, man, I can't wait till the 28th. I'm going to make you my girlfriend.
The night of the fight came. In short, if I were to try and describe this fight, I would describe it with only one word: war.
Ruddock almost disdaining his hook. The absence of the jab from Ruddock. Big right by Tyson. He's got him in trouble. That wobbled Ruddock a bit. That time.
Mike Tyson started this bout very effectively, and throughout the fight, he knocked his opponent down twice in the second and fourth rounds.
Oh, down goes Ruddock! Oh, hard shot. There goes Ruddock again. He's down.
Every time Ruddock was on the floor, he showed that he didn't mind Tyson's punches. As it turned out later, the Jamaican fighter had broken his jaw at the very beginning of the fight, and that's how he remained the entire fight. Donovan not only didn't lose heart, but fought with even more ferocity.
There you go. Good left hand by Ruddock. We haven't seen too many jabs or combinations. Here's a double left by Razor Ruddock. Ruddock with the miss, but countered by Tyson. In the 7th by Richard Steele. Ooh, nice hook. 2 nice hooks. Nice upper.
Tyson took the initiative and led the fight, but Ruddock constantly countered him, not letting the former champion relax even for a moment. It was a bright and exciting fight. The audience was thrilled.
And back comes Tyson. Oh, what a left hand by Razor Ruddock. Oh, nice counter punch by Tyson. Another right hand. Hard. Tyson. Ruddock. And Tyson has got to go back. Oh, he got hit again. Tyson coming in. Another right hand.
Both boxers were exhausted, but as soon as the fight was over, they hugged each other tightly, as if they weren't enemies just a minute ago, but true friends in the ring.
They both hit each other low blows. And as the bell sounded.
Yes, Ruddock and Tyson felt great affection and respect for each other after that great fight. After this tough fight, Mike Tyson won the fight by a unanimous decision from the judges.
Mighty Mike Tyson!
You had to have a hell of a heart to come back from some of those shots. This guy hit you some major shots.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about.
And you have got to have some kind of award from getting up from knockdown smiling. You must have the record of getting up smiling from knockdown.
It's better than crying.
After the fight, Tyson said a few words about Ruddock. Hell, this tough guy will be champion one day if he's dedicated and doesn't stumble. But Ruddock never became champion. In general, after this fight, both fighters, Mike Tyson and Donovan Ruddock's careers were going to go down gradually. After his fight with Razor, Tyson would go to prison for 3 years for well-known reasons, and Ruddock would lose all the subsequent significant fights of his career. The same Lennox Lewis we told you about at the beginning of this episode took down Razor as early as the 2nd round.
Right hand to the body. Ruddock in trouble.
But even though Ruddock never became the best boxer in the world, his fights will be watched by many generations of fighters, repeating his technique and aspiring to be a better version of this unique fighter. He had his own style and a great left jab. Paradoxically, his crowning weapon became his primary weakness, and he became a boxer who only worked with his left hand.
A long fight, not using his legs at all.
After ending his boxing career in 2001, Ruddock stated that his fights with Tyson had squeezed everything out of him, that Tyson himself had finished after them, and that neither he nor Tyson had any more such fights in the future.